So Vadim, you're hosting today's meeting, so feel free to start.
So yeah, hi guys. Thank you for attending. We have quite a big agenda, I think, so far. First of all, I will show you the changes which Sergey was created. I start sharing my screen. So here we are. This issue is about creating credit memos. So in this case, we have two different cases. For example, the order is already shipped or not. In both cases, we can create a credit memo, and therefore we need different behaviors. What will happen with our reservation or our already deducted sources? I created already two simples here. I attend two sources, and I add everywhere 10 pieces of products there. So in order that we are that is easier for us to calculate whether everything happens in the right way. So first of all, I will buy both products and more than one quantity each. For example, like this. So our expected behavior here is that we have reservations for this products after I complete the order, of course. So here we have our new reservations for these orders, and we can see that our source is still not deducted here. And first of all, I will create an invoice for both, for the whole order. No. So here's my latest order, and after creating the invoice, I can create a credit memo for this. So first of all, I will create a credit memo for just one piece each. And the expectation here is that we will create for this an comparative a reservation. So we release from our given reservation each. So here we are. We see reservation was created. Our source items are still the same. They are untouched so far. We can also see in our product grid that that our sources are still with 10 piece eaches, but the saleable quantity is more than we bought before. So next step is I ship these items. In order to be easier, I ship everything from the second source. So now we can see that our sources are deducted, and we can also see that there are reservations, the positive reservations there. So now we create a second credit memo, for example, for 3 pieces here and 1 piece here. So our expected result is that at least only one piece each SKU is really sold and away from our stock. So we can see here there is no more reservation created, and we can see here that our sources was the sources were increased again. So our saleable amount is 19 each. Yes. So that's so far from this implementation. It works so far. There is still an open question, or for example, what happens with SKU which was shipped from more than one source. So the current implementation would recreate the sources in the same way like they are shipped. But this is probably not the way how the returnment will happen. So therefore we need still a new issue, I think, and need to implement an additional logic. So that's it from my side. And so the next one is Roma.
Excuse me for interruption, Vadim.
Yeah.
Mark, you're on a call. So we already discussed that with Mark, and if I'm not wrong, Mark wanted to make this process to be implemented like we, no matter how many sources being used to fulfill the order, we always need to make a return just for one particular source. And that source supposed to be used in this order fulfillment. So, for example, if we had ordered particular SKU, and that SKU been delivered from the source A and the source B, no matter that there were two sources used to deliver, we still need to make a return for just source A. Is it correct, Mark?
Yes, that's correct.
So we will just create an issue just to adjust our existing behavior with what I just described. So I will create this issue right after this video.
Great.
For interruption, Vadim, please continue.
Yeah, it was a welcome interruption. Next two topics are presented by Roma. So Roma, you can start.
Hi all. So today I have two issues which I can show you. The one of this issue is about notify quantity, and the another one is about configurable product. So let's begin from notify quantity. It is a small bug. So let's go to my sources. And let's make Magento only default stock enable. So I will disable my two stocks of sources. So now, as we can see from the grid, I have only one default source enabled. And now if I go to the product, I will see the default Magento UI as without MSI. Let's create a simple product. So in default Magento UI, we have price 10. We have in advanced inventory the field, which is name and notify for quantity below. And let's set it to 5. Let's save it. So it should be saved for the default source. Let's save the product. And as you know, in multi-source inventory, we use source item. So we don't need this field for the product because we have this field for the source item. So let's go and enable one more source. Now go to the product and refresh the page. And now as you can see, the notified quantity is showed here. It is 5 as we saved it, and it is not use default. And if you go to advanced inventory, you cannot see this field because it is absent here. And now we can repeat and, for example, set it to use default here. Go again and disable our additional source. Go again to the product page. We should see again the default UI. And if I press advanced inventory, I see the notified quantity below again, and it is use config settings. So that's all about notified quantity field. It was small issue. And the another one is, I can say that it was critical issue because we could not place order with configurable product on custom stock. So let's enable source 3 and source 2 and save it. Let's go to the manage stock and assign the stock 2 to the main website. And I will also assign here source 3 without default and save it. Okay, now we can go to the creation of configurable product. Add configurable product. Configurable. Price 10 and create configurations for it. Next. Let's assign it to source 2 and source 3. And let's, for example, set the quantity to 100. Next, generate. Let's set some weight for it. And we should assign it to some category. Create category and save it. Okay. Yes, product is saved successfully. And we can see that we have 1000. It doesn't matter. So let's go to the front end and buy this configurable product. It is visible. So now we can add it to cart. And we also can proceed to checkout. Street, city, state, and phone number. Next, and place order. So now order should be placed successfully. Okay, that's good. Now we can go to the admin panel again. We can see this order in our grid. And now we will try to do shipment and invoice with this product. Okay, invoice. Let's, for example, invoice 4 items. Submit invoice. As you can see, invoice works good too. Here we have invoiced 4 and ordered 5. Let's go to create shipment. So yes, we have on our stock 2 sources. So we see this page. Now we can choose which source we want to choose. Let's, for example, choose source 5 and let's click 3, proceed to shipment. Ordered 5, invoiced 4 again. quantity to ship 3 and submit shipment. And yes, shipment has been created successfully, so now configurable product works with MSI correctly. I think that this all updates from my side about these two issues.
Thank you, Roma. So the next, or are there any questions to what Roma showed us?
I don't have any questions on the story. It looks great.
Great. So Pavel is the next. Pavel, feel free to share.
Let me tell about my issue. As you know, we can, on vanilla Magento, we can create new product, and quantity field, as you see, is optional. We can save product without setting quantity field, and it will become 0, and stock status will become out of stock. So I have implemented same behavior on multi-source mode. Multi-source. Let's enable our second source to switch to multi-source mode. Previously, in multi-source mode, our quantity field value was required, not optional. But now you can not fill with field, and it will be set, Magento will set 0 to it, and source item status will become out of stock, such as on vanilla Magento. That's all.
Thank you. Any regarding questions to this?
Not from my side.
Great. So Igor was or is willing to show us some more pull requests we have. Unfortunately, the guys which are made them are not able to attend to this meeting because of Imagine or after Imagine. So Igor, stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Vadim. So I'll try to share my screen now. The update I would like to share is the pull request we were given and delivered in the scope of the pre-Imagine hackathon. And precisely, I would like to highlight the contribution of Riccardo Tempesto from Match Specialist. And he delivered 4 pull requests, both to Magento, and some of them got to Magento Core. And let's start from the beginning. The first of his pull requests was devoted to quantity increment support. And actually, it's pretty strange, but since Magento 2.0, 2.1, and 2.2, our quantity increment functionality supports just integer values. And it's not possible, it was not possible to specify a decimal value as a quantity increment. And actually, it did not fit for such businesses as a drugstore, for example, or cooking, for example, where you need to specify some fraction of value as a quantity increment. So let's see how this particular feature has been implemented and has been brought to MSI. So here you can see a product. In the product, let's go to the advanced inventory. In the advanced inventory, we already enabled the quantity increment and specify quantity increment as 1. So the integer value. Now, if we'll go to the shopping cart, we already have this product in the shopping cart, test simple product, and we can update according to this increment. So here you see that update happened, and we are not allowing to specify a decimal value because you can buy this product only in quantities of 1 at a time. So here we violate the check by the increment. That's why it was not possible to update our quote. So now let's change the quantity increment value and specify it, for example, 1.5, and save product. So now if we'll get back to our shopping cart, 3 is a key value, so let's specify it like 4.5. And we see that the value successfully updated. And if you specify another value like 4.7, here we violating our increment check again, because of 4.7 not divided without rest on 1.5. Actually, this is the first pull request and the first feature which was provided by Ricardo Tempesta. And another pull request which is very useful for us, because you know that on MSI we are going to support PHP 7.1 syntax, and Bartek was involved into this activity, but actually we stuck with several blockers. One of the blocker was our outdated code sniffer and the math detector we use in our static test. That's why our static builds were red, because they can't recognize, for example, multiple exception handling, multiple nullable type returns, or void as a return type. And recently we got this update with the mainline, where guys from PHP 7.2 track updated all the external dependency and all the PHP tooling that support 7.1 syntax. But the only issue which prevented us from using PHP 7.1 syntax was our code generation mechanism. And actually main reason for the code generation mechanism was that we don't support at that time, before the pre-Imagine hackathon, we did not support pluginization and the code generation for interceptor on class with method which returns the void as a type. And in the scope of his pull request, Ricardo updated our code interceptor generator, and now he added the possibility to check whether the method, so based on the reflection, whether the method is returned void or not. So we will add on not add a return to our final function, final interceptor, which is supposed to be generated here. So you see this return is an optional here, and that's why we are not getting any more fatal errors if we are pluginizing method with a void return type. So after accepting this pull request, our activities on moving MSI on a PHP 7.1 syntax is totally unblocked, and I believe in the next demo Bartek will, I hope Bartek, because I can't commit for Bartek if he is currently not on the meeting, but I hope that we will finish the activity of moving to PHP 7.1 very quickly with this pull request on board. So this actually a main update from another pretty important stuff, that we finally finished the decomposition and segregation of inventory module, and now we have inventory and inventory admin API. So that was last, not last, we still have inventory shipping module, but that was like another module where we made this segregation. And we are also pretty close to finishing the story of segregating UI out of business logic we have in the system. And another update. We finally removed. I don't have created order, but we finally removed the tabulation with the initial implementation of source selection algorithm. I know that functionality irritated Mark and me because we don't use anymore, but some guys who start to use project been to trap and start looking at it. So we finally removed, and Lars from tech division fixed this issue. I believe Lars will show it next meeting, because it really wanted to make a demonstration by himself. So I will give him this opportunity next meeting. But actually, that's update from pre-Imagine hackathon. The results are pretty fruitful, and they helped us to move next. So that was my update, and I'm stop sharing my screen. Vadim, you are muted.
So this was so far the agenda, I think. So Josh Carter, I think, he also told that he potentially can participate, but he couldn't, looks like. So that's it so far.
So we can just describe what Josh actually implemented. So as we had a meeting after as a result of Match Titans in Italy between Mark, Vadim, and me, where we discussed whether we need to support referential integrity between the catalog SKU and the inventory SKU, and we agreed that probably there is no sense to check, for example, at the time of inventory import. There is no need, there is no business need to check whether the SKU we are importing exists already in the catalog. Because in this case, we actually introducing the dependencies between two types of import-export, and it's potentially merchant can stuck with the situation when he made an export, and after that he can't make an import afterwards. That's why we agreed that we will remove existing check, and actually that was the main idea of contribution of Josh Carter, who eliminated existing check, and now our import-export and all the operation we have with the source item are not dependent on the SKUs we have in a catalog. So actually, catalog responsible for presentation of SKU, and inventory responsible for quantity and the stock management of SKU. And it's not an issue if some SKU would be mentioned in inventory, but wouldn't be mentioned in catalog. So the catalog will just filter out that SKU, and it would never be shown on a front end for customer. So that actually was an idea, and that's a contribution of Josh Carter. Vadim, you're still muted.
So I always need to unplug and replug my headset. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. Thank you, Igor, for jumping in and explain us everything. And thank you, everybody else.
Thank you, Vadim, and thank you, Sergey. You actually made this show and made this demo happen, because I was totally distracted after Imagine, and I would not be able to conduct this demo by myself. So I'm saying thank you, guys. You're really, this is actually how self-driven community and how a community-driven project supposed to be supposed to happen. So I'm really satisfied, and I'm really enjoyed how you did it. Thank you very much, Vadim, and thank you very much, Sergey.
Yeah, very good job by everybody today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.